So this is the start of season 2. Season 2 will be a journey of me, how I grew up, how I became the person I am, and where I am and what I'm doing today. So hopefully you'll be able to understand a bit more about me. So my parents are both from Durban. So all my family are from Durban, and my parents were from Durban. They got married, and a week later they moved down to Cape Town. And 6 years later, I was there. I was born. So you can say I'm a Townian Durbanite. Cape Town by birth, Durbanite by family. It was always weird because all of my family was in Durban. So I grew up with no family in Cape Town. I only had my parents and my stepsister. Growing up, my mom used to work. So when I was young, my mom was working and my dad was working. So I was taken to daycare. I remember I was growing up in the northern suburbs of Cape Town and taken to daycare every day from the age of maybe 3 or 2 or 3, I can't quite remember. But I remember I used to go to a lady that used to be a nurse. She would take care of me while my mom them were at work. And when I was about 3 or 4, I moved to a place called Little Heights. Little Heights is where was like a daycare or before creche center. It was like a creche. Yeah, it was a creche. And I've made quite a few friendships from there. Friendships that have lasted till today. Not as close, but we'll still keep in contact every now and then. From that friendships I've made at the age of 4. I was always an inquisitive person. I remember being younger and I would always try and be outside as much as possible. Growing up in the northern suburbs of Cape Town, you also used to run around barefoot. Run around in the street barefoot. Times were much calmer then. Ride around in your bikes down the road. I remember getting my first go-kart and just being inquisitive about trying to do as much as I could being outdoors. Eventually, when I had to go to school, my parents had to find a school that would be able to have aftercare because they were both working. I needed to be at a school where there was after school someone would look after me, or there would be a service of aftercare till my parents would fetch me and stuff like that after they finish work. So I eventually found myself going to a school in Bellville. Going to Bellville was always very weird. I remember it was an Afrikaans school and they started English classes as well. So when I was younger, I was at an Afrikaans school. It's always weird because I remember going to grade R and just being a really inquisitive person. Always trying to be outside, always trying to be outdoors, and I liked doing outdoor activities. I remember the times at that time Gladiators was on TV, so that's giving my age. And remembering Gladiators, my favorite gladiator was Tusk, and my favorite contender was Two Scoops. I still remember to this day. I made a t-shirt with Two Scoops written on it, and whenever we would do running activities, or like we would have set obstacle courses, I would wear my Two Scoops shirt and do the obstacle course with my Two Scoops shirt. After school, we would go with our friends and run around and do the obstacle course again with our Two Scoops shirts on, with my Two Scoops shirt on. Sorry, I can't say it. And just try to beat one another. Being competitive, being sporty. That was what it was like when I was a kid. So that was grade R. up to grade R, I remember speaking Afrikaans, learning Afrikaans. I could speak proper Afrikaans fully when I was younger. And as grade R would turn to grade 1, you would start becoming more academic. Start learning how to write, start learning how to read. And I was a small little kid at that time, as you'll see from the picture that is on the cover page. Small little kid, exploring the world, learning about the outdoors, learning about life, and just taking in as much as possible. At those times, I used to play around in the sand, eat grass, find the earthworm, chew on the earthworm, see what everything was like, see what everything tasted like. I remember when we discuss it with kids we teach now, have you ever eaten sand? And they're like, no. Have you ever eaten grass? You don't know what grass tastes like? Have you ever tasted a caterpillar? I was down to do all those things. May have got sick a couple times, but I was down to do it. And then I remember clearly in grade R having my first concussion. Going on the horse swing. So it's the swing that has like a horse back and down. It swings, but then one person sits on the one side. The horse seesaw swing type of thing. And the side I was on fell and hit in my head for the first time in grade R. It was my first concussion. Never knew it was a concussion, but now you know it was my first concussion. I think that's why I still have a couple screws loose now. But grade R and grade 1 was all about being inquisitive. I was never trying to compete with anyone, but I was always trying to be nice. Always trying to be nice to the people around me, always trying to be kind to the teachers I had. And as I had no family around, it meant my friendships and the people I surround myself with became my family.